Welcome into the Dallas Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, and it's time for an updated look at some potential free agent targets for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, as things sit right now, the Cowboys have about $20 million in salary cap space. That is a rough estimate. If you look at some of the salary cap sites out there, they'll say about, 26, 27, depending on which one you're looking at in terms of the cap space right now. But that doesn't include most of the re-signings, the exact details for some guys, LVE, namely James Washington, Dante Fowler. We don't know that. The structure will be to keep that cap hit low this year. So maybe it's more like 17, maybe it's more even as low as 15, 20 kind of feels about right. Somewhere in that range is where the Cowboys are at right this second, not including the $10 million from Lyle Collins you get after June 1st. So they can spend if they want to. They can add a big name addition if they would ever choose to go that route, but this team does not pay above $7 million APY in the open market since Brandon Carr. So what is your confidence level right now in the Dallas Cowboys? Maybe you feel better like I do after you're able to keep Jaron Kearse. Scale it for me 1 to 100 in the comment section. I got 25 names we're going to get to on today's show. First up, 4 guys stop asking me about. First off, you were never in on Tyrann Mathieu. I know there were fake accounts saying it. You really weren't. Teron Armstead, not a chance. You're going to pay 2 injured left tackles? No. Jadeveon Clowney, he's going to ask for $10 million. If the market dips, sure, but I thought he would have made more sense if you cut Tank Lawrence than opposite Tank Lawrence. And Stephon Gilmore, is corner even a need for you? Kind of don't think that it is right now. So let's begin with what I would consider a borderline dream target. How about J.C. Tretter? Now, he was a bit of a surprise cut by the Cleveland Browns. He played well last year. He is aging. He could be a 1-year option for you, and then you figure out center again next year. So I know that offensive line is in the sexy position, and there's a bigger name you guys all want. I know that. Tretter should be high on your list right now. So what I want you guys to do right now is name a player who you want to go out and sign. Please keep it realistic. They're not going to break the bank, but maybe there's a big name out there that could be affordable. Of course, they missed out on Za'Darius Smith because maybe if the deal was half that, they would have paid him. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So that ad break comes, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know which realistic player you guys want to sign in NFL free agency. Going to be a lot of this name. A lot of Bobby Wagner, which shouldn't surprise anybody. The longer Wagner stays unsigned, the more hope is dangerous that I think could be an option for the Dallas Cowboys. He does not have an agent. He negotiates himself. That can help and hurt players, depending on how good they are at doing that particular thing. It also, I think, keeps the rumors and noise quiet because the team's not going to leak their interest, and typically players don't leak their own interest. So maybe Wagner's a fit. We'll have to wait and see. Anthony Barr, with the presence of George Edwards, could also make sense. Now, his play style isn't as impactful as what it was in the past, but I do think Barr could make sense if you want an off-ball linebacker. If you didn't have Parsons, I might be even more intrigued since Barr can blitz a little bit, but I think his value is dwindling in the NFL. I like Kaiser White. This is your Keanu Neal replacement. I thought he outplayed Keanu Neal. Now, you re-signed LVE, so you don't have to spend big on free agents, but I don't think White would be that expensive. I think he fits the scheme pretty well as that extra Keanu Neal style linebacker, but he might want more guaranteed money and or playing time elsewhere. Anthony Hitchens. I did the whole Stephen Jones. Can we have Bobby Wagner? And Steven says we got Bobby Wagner at home, and I put the photos of LVE and then Anthony Hitchens, and that still might come true. He's a backup. That's what he is at this stage, but if he's your linebacker 4, you probably feel okay about it. Dark horse name here is A.J. Johnson, who I thought played well before getting hurt the past couple years in Denver. I think a potential decent buy low candidate. I suspect this is the type of player the NFL is not as high on as, say, we are, for example. And last linebacker here, then we'll get to some edge rushers. KJ Wright, linked a lot last year. He wasn't the same guy for the Raiders he was in his last year in Seattle. Given the age, you got to start to wonder just how much more he's got left in the tank. If you have not already, please help us. Help me feed my family by supporting us on Rumble. Rumble.com/CowboysTV. It's another video platform. We'll do Cowboys After Hours there as well. And we're posting all the videos over there too. Rumble.com/CowboysTV. And I can drop F-bombs without getting yelled at by my bosses, so they won't censor me over there. Uncensored video platform. On one of yesterday's videos, of course, you guys got two. Make sure you're all following us on Rumble and subscribed. I asked you guys to help us catch our Giants channel. We made up a lot of ground. Thank you guys so much, but we are still getting our butts kicked a little bit. We've got a pretty big gap to catch our terrible Giants report host, or Giants Now host, Marshall Green. Let's get that going. Rumble.com/CowboysTV. Edges. This was going to be Za'Darius Smith. Oops, he gone. Pull him off the running there. How about Derek Barnett? Producer Jeremy, our Eagles fan, says that the Cowboys can have him. I'm looking for a rotation piece. I think Barnett could help you there. Melvin Ingram, a guy maybe you should have gone after the trade deadline last year, can still contribute as a situational pass rusher, but all these guys at edge really fit that bargain bin shopping. Jason Pierre-Paul also in that category. I don't know how much desire there is for JPP across the NFL. I know he was hurt last year. He was bad. At his age, that's a big-time red flag for NFL teams. A guy with Dan Quinn connections, although I wonder if those Dan Quinn connections are good or bad, is Takk McKinley. He is who he is. This is a guy the Cowboys liked a lot coming out. I think they would have taken him over Taco Charlton. Ends up not being the case, and, well, McKinley wasn't great in Cleveland last year despite getting some chances opposite Myles Garrett. Yeah, I think you're better with Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong, honestly. I kind of think the Cowboys are going to mostly pass on edges at this point, maybe in the draft. Now, if you love the Dallas Cowboys, then subscribe. This is a channel for only Cowboys fans. Don't let the loser Giants and Eagles fans who try to troll say otherwise. That's just how important the Cowboys are to them. They spend their time commenting on Cowboys YouTube channels. But if you're a true Cowboys fan, subscribe right now. Odell Beckham? Maybe? OBJ is coming off, of course, the bad injury. A lot of buzz he wants to go back to the Rams. They, of course, trade away Robert Woods. Then they sign Allen Robinson. They could still fit OBJ on that roster, but maybe you want to bring him in, although maybe you worry about having two ACL tears at receiver in Beckham and in Gallup. So be honest with me. Would you sign Odell Beckham? OBJ for yes or no BJ for no? Let me know in the comments right now. Let's talk Cole Beasley. I know Bobby Belt mentioned there could be some interest there. They did sign James Washington, so we're going light at receiver because that's your veteran cheap, stopgap option who's maybe here for a year and ends up leaving after that. But if you want to find a pure slot, Cole is one of the best ones out there, and we'll see how Cole and the organization feel about each other. There were some issues when he left, although I think Jason Garrett had quite a bit of influence on that front. Back to defense. Bring me Calais Campbell. I would love to get him on my front. He is not the same guy he was in his prime. I acknowledge that. But if you want a big body upgrade button over Brent Urban, that's what Campbell is. I would love to get him, although I wonder if the Ravens or maybe the Raiders have interest in him instead. Akeem Hicks, another player who is beginning to age, but we know how the Cowboys love their Canadian defensive linemen and Canadian players overall. Hicks fits that buy low, budget-friendly option. Not going to break the bank, but he can help you in a similar role as Brent Urban. Ndamukong Suh, he still keeps producing. Despite getting up there in age and not being what he was at his peak, Suh had 7 tackles for loss, 6 sacks last year. I would love to bring him in. I wonder if he signs like a 1-year, $7 million deal or $6 million deal somewhere else, and that prices himself out of the Cowboys equation. Linval Joseph, I kind of wonder if his best days are behind him, which borders on Dontari Poe, but he'll be cheap, and I am always down with 1-year deals for next to no guaranteed money, because that makes them move onable if they struggle in camp or the preseason. It's just you can't only fill your roster with those guys in free agency. What do you guys think is the biggest need left? We mentioned earlier, receiver could still be in play. Left guard, which we'll get to here in a little bit. Defensive tackle, linebackers. Players and positions only. Can't say GM or owner. Who's the biggest need left for the Dallas Cowboys? Let's look at safety now, in case you want to replace DeMonte Casey still on your roster. Deshaun Elliott, coming off the injury, that fits the Cowboys mold. Texas kid, when healthy, he's been good. He's just not healthy. Ronnie Harrison would have been high on my list had you not re-signed Jaron Kearse, but given how much you want to play Kearse in the box, which certainly makes sense, you probably want an extra safety on your roster. Harrison can do a bunch of things in a split safety role for you. How about Jabril Peppers, who, by the way, I kind of think should move to running back. Like, I'm dead serious. I think that's his best spot in the NFL, which was kind of like a joke at Michigan. But he hasn't been great at safety in the NFL, but he's got return value, too. That special teams impact makes him a prime candidate as safety 3 or 4, depending on how you feel about Donovan Wilson and his health. Offensive line time. Now, and I'm only half kidding on Jabril Peppers. Like, he was a good running back at Michigan. Billy Turner. I thought he played great for Green Bay, or at least good for Green Bay. He was cut, and there's been very little interest in him. Worst case, this is my new swing tackle, and I am looking for one of those after moving on from La'el Collins and not knowing what the future is of Josh Ball in terms of being an impact player. Let's look at guards. I would like to sign a guard who you could start if you had to, just in case the board doesn't fall your way in round 1. Eric Flowers was a first-round bust for the Giants. But since then, he's actually kind of been able to rehab his career. If I bring him in 1 year cheap, I can live with that. So, too, Quentin Spain. Look, the Bengals might take a guard in round 1. I think they want to bring him back a little bit, too. But Spain could be a stopgap option for me at left guard, since I don't know how much we should be trusting Connor McGovern, given how bad he was there last year. Much better at right guard, and, of course, being fullback. Ode Ibushi, next up here, elite name, by the way, actually played well for the Chargers before getting hurt. So, again, I'm looking at buy low, budget-friendly options on the offensive line. Billy Turner, by the way, can also play guard. I think guard, or maybe center, Linderbaum, is the likely draft target position in round 1 for the Cowboys. What do you guys think it'll be? Head down to the comments section. Let me know what position you think the Cowboys will take in the first round. One more name. What do you bring back Andy Dalton? I think it's going to be cheap. I look, Cooper Rush played great. That's awesome. What if it's 1 year, $3 million again for Andy Dalton? I don't hate that idea, just in case Dak gets hurt again. We saw that Dalton was not great in Chicago. Turns out the Cowboys roster was a little bit better than a bad Bears team. But I wouldn't be opposed to adding another veteran QB if it's super, super cheap.